Season 5 of The Chosen is no longer just a distant promise. It's done filming, and the editing process is officially underway. But even before the official trailer lands, something unexpected happened. Multiple behind-the-scenes videos, teasers, and interviews were released. And then came the leaks. These aren't blurry, low-quality rumors. These are intentional crafted peeks into the soul of what Season 5 is about: tension, betrayal, and the painful countdown to Jesus' arrest. The production team isn't hiding anymore, they're slowly letting us in. And what they're showing is deeper and darker than anyone imagined. In one teaser alone, we watch as Roman soldiers burst through doors with violent authority. But the real drama is quieter. It's in the way Judas stands apart, the way his eyes avoid meeting Jesus's, the way his confidence is replaced with doubt. According to the actors and crew, Season 5 is pulling no punches. The betrayal is coming not suddenly, but through a slow series of small decisions, missed chances, and fractured faith. Judas isn't a villain in this story. He's a man who wanted to do right and just couldn't keep up with the cost of discipleship. Check out Saints. Footage shows us how Judas begins to crumble. It's not about one big sin. It's about the 1,000 tiny moments that lead to it. The money pouch getting heavier, the silence growing longer, the looks he gets from other disciples. They trust him, and yet deep down, something's off. The writing is on the wall. Even in the teaser titled "The Romans Get Rough," it's not the soldiers who steal the scene, it's Judas quietly disappearing into himself. Behind the scenes, the cast talks about the intensity of these scenes. The filming days were long, sometimes over 12 hours, and the emotional weight was even heavier. They had to step into a moment that changed everything, not just for Jesus and Judas, but for every follower watching. One actor described Judas as a man making every mistake in the book, but still searching, still hoping. That's what hurts the most. Judas doesn't walk away with pride. He walks away because he's broken. He gave everything up for Jesus and still couldn't understand him. We even hear from the creators about how this season is different. Dallas Jenkins says he didn't want to rush anything. The betrayal isn't just an event, it's a process. The story unfolds slowly, almost painfully, and forces us to sit in the discomfort. And just like the characters in the show, we won't see it coming until it's already happened. One minute, Judas is learning how to wash clothes, trying to fit in. The next, he's pocketing silver, convincing himself he's doing the right thing. What's more heartbreaking is how isolated he becomes. He leaves behind his job, gives up his house, and follows Jesus with nothing but faith and fear. And when that fear grows louder than his faith, the cracks begin to show. He's no longer asking questions to understand. He's asking to control. And when the answers don't match his expectations, he starts to slip. Not in anger, but in confusion. And that confusion leads to one of the darkest choices in history. But it's not just Judas who's changing. We're also seeing the growing pressure on characters like Pontius Pilate and Caiaphas. One of the leaked clips shows a quiet confrontation between the two men, one desperate to hold power, the other trying to control chaos. It's not loud. It's not violent. It's a whisper of what's coming. And what's coming is the arrest of Jesus. The decision has already been made. And while some characters still pretend they can avoid it, others, like Judas, are already part of the plan. So the question now isn't if Judas will betray Jesus. We already know he will. The real question is how it happens, and why. And based on everything we've seen so far, Season 5 isn't just going to show us the moment, it's going to make us feel every step that led to it. Judas isn't evil. That's what The Chosen wants us to understand, and it's what makes Season 5 so devastating. The leaked trailer doesn't show a traitor plotting with joy. It shows a disciple being torn apart from the inside, crushed under pressure, fear, and disappointment. For 4 seasons, we've watched the disciples grow, struggle, but grow. Matthew, once cold and calculating, found friendship. Simon the Zealot, trained for war, found peace. Even Peter, angry and impulsive, has slowly learned to trust. But Judas? His journey is different. His faith is real but fragile. He believes in Jesus, but he also believes in results. And when the miracles don't fix the world the way he expects, when Rome doesn't fall and the revolution doesn't come, his belief starts to bend and eventually it breaks. This isn't the betrayal of a stranger, it's the betrayal of someone who loved Jesus, who walked beside him, ate with him, served him, and dreamed of something greater. The leaked scenes hint at this slow, emotional collapse. We see Judas sitting alone more often, watching the others with quiet unease. His expressions speak louder than words. He's worried, he's anxious, and he's starting to feel like maybe this path isn't going where he thought it would. In one behind-the-scenes moment, the actor playing Judas even describes him as trying to help Jesus succeed. Let that sink in. Judas doesn't think he's doing something wrong. He thinks he's doing what must be done. That's what makes it tragic. He believes truly that Jesus needs a push. That maybe if the authorities are forced to confront him, the revolution will begin. But Jesus doesn't want war. He wants surrender, and Judas can't handle that. The weight is too much. He's the one holding the money, the one doing the numbers, the one who tries to keep order when things feel chaotic. And yet the more he tries to control, the more he slips. In one voiceover from the teaser, we hear Jesus speak gently about betrayal. "One of you will hand me over." And the moment lands like thunder, because we already know who it is. But the disciples don't. They look around confused, wondering. And that tension is where season 5 is going to live. We're not rushing to the arrest. We're crawling toward it heartbeat by heartbeat. And Judas is leading the way without even knowing how deep he's sinking. According to early interviews, the cast and crew spent weeks working on just a few key scenes. They didn't want to treat Judas like a simple villain. They wanted to capture his humanity, his heartbreak, and his hesitation. Because even as he prepares to hand Jesus over, there's a part of him that hopes he's wrong. A part that prays something will stop him. But nothing does. And when Jesus looks him in the eye, Judas realizes the worst part. Jesus knew he always knew, and he loved him anyway. This is the emotional core of season 5. Not just betrayal, but mercy. Jesus doesn't strike back. He doesn't beg Judas to stop. He lets it happen because he knows it must. The mission can't be completed without sacrifice, without suffering. And Judas tragically becomes part of that sacrifice. Not because he was chosen to fail, but because he chose not to trust. That's the painful truth The Chosen is revealing piece by piece in every leak and every teaser. Judas wanted victory, but Jesus came to die. And when those two visions clashed, only one could survive. As we prepare for the full trailer and eventually the season itself, the question we all carry is this: will we see ourselves in Judas? Because his story isn't just history, it's a mirror. Every time we choose fear over faith, every time we demand control instead of surrender, we take one step closer to his path. And The Chosen doesn't let us look away. It pulls us into that tension and asks us to feel it, to live in the discomfort, to ask, what would I have done? Would I have trusted Jesus when nothing made sense? Or would I have grabbed the silver, hoping I could fix things my way? The answers aren't easy, and this season won't be either. But that's the power of The Chosen. It doesn't give us clean, polished stories. It gives us people, messy, desperate, faithful people, trying to follow a savior they don't fully understand. And in season 5, Judas is going to break our hearts, not because he turns away, but because he never stopped wanting to believe. He just couldn't let go of the life he thought Jesus should give him. While Judas wrestles with doubt in the shadows, another storm is building right in the open. Peter. He's always been fire and thunder, but in season 5, he's reaching his breaking point. The leaked footage shows a side of Peter we haven't fully seen yet. He's more than just a leader now. He's a man watching his world slip out of control. Jesus is speaking more and more of death, of suffering, of a kingdom that doesn't look like power, but surrender. And Peter can't accept it. He won't accept it. Because deep down, Peter still believes that Jesus will change everything, not by dying, but by rising in power before death even touches him. And so when Jesus starts speaking about betrayal and crucifixion, Peter begins to boil. He sees danger coming and he's ready to fight. But what he doesn't realize is that he's fighting the wrong battle. There's one moment in the leaked trailer that haunts everything. A nighttime conversation between Jesus and the disciples. The mood is heavy. Jesus speaks softly, almost sorrowfully, warning them that the time is near. And then in the background, Peter's voice rises, "We will never let them take you." But Jesus just looks at him with heartbreak in his eyes. Because he knows Peter will deny him. He knows the sword Peter carries won't save him, and yet he still loves him. That silence between them, between the bold promise and the quiet truth, is where the pain hits hardest. We're watching a man who wants to be brave, wants to protect, but doesn't understand that this fight isn't physical. Peter is preparing for war, and Jesus is preparing for sacrifice. And the deeper we go into the leaked scenes, the clearer it becomes Peter's not ready. He's walking toward the worst night of his life, and he doesn't even know it. The Last Supper is coming. Gethsemane is coming. The soldiers, the fear, the moment when everything unravels. It's all getting closer. And Peter will be tested like never before. Just as Judas's betrayal will shatter us, Peter's denial will wreck us. Because we know he loves Jesus. But sometimes love isn't loud enough to silence fear. Another chilling moment in the teaser shows the disciples walking behind Jesus, their faces tense, their steps heavy. The road to Jerusalem isn't filled with joy. It's filled with dread. They know something is coming. They just don't know what. And that mystery, wrapped in fear and love and confusion, is what makes The Chosen so powerful. We're not just watching a Bible story play out, we're feeling it unfold step by step through the hearts of these men. And Peter, caught between boldness and terror, is about to experience the kind of failure that breaks a soul. What makes it worse is that Judas and Peter are walking such different paths. And yet, they're both heading toward disaster. One tries to force Jesus' hand. The other tries to defend him. And both of them fall. It's two sides of the same storm. And it's coming fast. The creators of The Chosen have said that Season 5 is about deep pain and deeper love. That's exactly what we're seeing. Because in the middle of betrayal, in the middle of denial, Jesus doesn't lash out. He embraces it. He sees the brokenness in his disciples and chooses grace. That's what will leave us in tears. Not just the tragedy of what they do to him, but the compassion he shows anyway. And so, as we move closer to the climax of this season, the tension between Judas and Peter becomes the heartbeat of the story. Two men, two failures, but only one chooses to come back. That choice, that moment, is still ahead. And when it hits, it's going to break the internet. The betrayal may shatter our hearts, but the forgiveness, that will change us forever. The storm of betrayal tightens its grip. Another soul suffers quietly in the background. Mary, the mother of Jesus. The leaked trailer captures brief but powerful glimpses of her. A woman who has always known this day would come, but now that it's here, her heart is breaking. She doesn't speak much, but her eyes tell the story. The fear, the love, the ache only a mother can carry. She watches her son walk toward something. She can't stop. And in that silence, we feel the weight of everything. Mary isn't the only one grieving. The women around Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and the others, can feel the tension rising. Their roles may seem quiet, but their pain is deep. They see how Jesus is changing. He smiles less. His voice is calmer, slower. He knows the clock is ticking. And they know it too. There's a moment in the leaked footage that left viewers stunned. Mary Magdalene approaches Jesus in private. She's trembling. She asks him, "Will we be okay?" And Jesus doesn't answer with words. He just places his hand on her shoulder. The silence is louder than anything he could have said. This is where Season 5 changes. The miracles, the joy, the laughter, they begin to fade. What replaces them is something deeper, a sorrow that feels holy, a stillness before the storm. And this storm is unlike anything we've seen before, because this time, it's not about healing bodies, it's about healing hearts after they've been shattered. And for that to happen, everything must fall apart first. We also see a chilling moment involving the Sanhedrin. Caiaphas and the others are growing restless. They whisper in corners. They send spies, and then the name Judas is spoken. They don't say it openly, but the implication is clear. They know someone is cracking, and they're ready to use him. The tension is unbearable, because while Jesus is preparing for sacrifice, the Sanhedrin is preparing a trap. And in the middle of it all, Judas is walking blind into his darkest hour.